Okay, welcome back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to push this on a little, and we're going to go for 3 heads now, right? So we're going to say that what if we tossed a coin 3 times? And what is the success of getting, I'm just going to go with the same thing again, 3 heads, right? Let's look at that. Let's look at the success. I'm going to toss a coin 3 times. I mean, the chance of me the probability of every time I toss the coin is 0.5. What is the success of 3 heads? And you'll sort of see where I'm going with this, because the truth is, we could go n is equal to, we could carry on, right? We would have a really, really crazy looking tree. We could go all the way to n is equal to 50. And what is the success of getting 50 heads, and whatever, or success of getting 45 heads, or whatever. Right, so again, I've tossed my head, the coin the first time, head, tail, then I toss it the second time, heads or tails, exactly the same way I toss it the third time, heads or tails. Again, it is always 0.5, I mean, because this is a fair coin. So I toss it the first time, heads or tails, and then I could have heads or tails, which is 0.5. 0.5. Again, going from my tree, tails, and then from here I could have, oops, my tree is not looking very pretty now. 0.5, 0.5, and the same thing here. I have heads or tails, 0.5, 0.5. So let's look at the scenario here. I'm going to toss a coin up 3 times, and it must be, you can see the magic here. I could be lucky and get, the first time I tossed it, I could get a head. Next time I tossed, I could get a head. Next time I tossed, I could get a head. Or I could have tossed it the first 2 times, I got heads, and the last time I'd get a tail. Or I could have tossed it the first time with a head, gotten a tail next time, and then gotten a head. Or gotten a head, gotten a tail, and then a tail. Or gotten a tail, gotten a head, then a head. Gotten a tail, gotten a head, then a tail. Gotten a tail, gotten a tail, then a head, gotten a tail, gotten a tail, or gotten a tail. And these are all my combinations, right? These are all my combinations. So what I have here is, for the first head, I must have 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5, which is equal to, and that's 3 heads, which is equal to 0.125. 3 heads, right? Or I could have had 2 heads, head, tail, which is 0.5 times 0. They're all 0.5s, which is 0.125. So here I have 2 heads. So I'm just going to stop doing the multiplication and just write 0.125 from now on. So I have head, tail, head. So I have 2 heads again, 0.125. And here I have head, tail, tail. So I have 1 head, 0.125. Oh, what happened there? Then I have, oh yes, I'm done with that one now. Then I have tail, head, head. That's 2 heads, 0.125. Then I have tail, head, tail. That's 1 head, that's 0.125. So you can see the reason I'm making you go through this tail, tail, head. That's 1 head, that's 0.125. And finally, I could have no heads, which is 0.125. Right, so you can see I have, and all of this, when you add this all together, 0.125, when you add all this together, you will get 1. These are all the relationships. And you can see I could literally now go in and work out. And again, I'm going to relate this to the business process. You could argue from 3 items, what is this chance that 3 will be defected? I mean, that's a success, right? What's the chance of 3 being defected? And that's, if you like, saying 3 heads, right? And so Never mind. So I'm here. So again, I could say success could be about defects, right? So not about heads or tails. It's just really the fact that I can break things up. Or I could say, what is the chance of having at least one defect? So it pretty much is, if you like, everything above one. What we have here is you have head. You can see that I can actually work out and add things together. So 3 defects, or if I said, what about 2 defects? I have 2 defects here, 2 defects here, 2 defects here, right? So my 2 defects, I will add all this plus this. If I said, what's the chance of 2 heads, or what's the chance of 2 defects? I would have 0.125 plus 0.125 plus 0.125. What's the chance of 1 defect? 0.125 plus 0.125 plus 0.125. What's the chance of no defects? Just 0.125. No heads. What's the chance of 3 defects? Just 0.125. And again, this is how we relate this to business. And we could carry on just going on and doing this tree. But I mean, you can imagine that this must be tiresome. So in the end, there must be some kind of formula to help us arrive. You don't need to understand the derivation of the formula, because technically this is a business course. I mean, technically you could have done this in math in school. But the key point is that you can see that I can work out what my chances are of finding out damaged goods from a product list based on, if I had some idea of the probability, because I'm up here, the probability, and the number of the total sample, and I knew what I was actually looking for, and I could divide it into either success or failure, and I could add and sort of add probabilities together. Okay, great stuff. So what I will do in the next video is carry on and then kind of approach the sort of formula, sort of how the formulas look, and then put it into Excel and calculate it that way. Okay, great stuff. See you in the next video.